No spring game for you, no spring game for you, and no spring game for you. That's what Texas, USC, and Missouri said. Hey, I'm Nick Frazier, and welcome to the Water Cooler Talk Sports. And if this is your first time around the water cooler, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us around the water cooler. While you're here, if you like the content that you're seeing, please like and subscribe here on the channel as we are trying to grow the channel so we can keep bringing you more content. And after that, go over to Twitter and follow us at CoolestPod23 on Twitter. Let's get into it. So this is the tradition of the college football spring game. Man, if you don't know, I'm an Auburn fan. And I looked forward to the spring game growing up. I did. Ticket was only $5. And then the thing about the game was, after the game was over with, you had a chance to go on the field and get autographs from the players. I remember getting autographs from guys like Junior Rose Green. I remember getting autographs from guys like Jason Campbell. I remember getting autographs from guys like Carnell Williams. I remember looking forward to the spring game every year, going to Jordan-Hare Stadium and being able to watch who's my favorite college football team play. But guess what? Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of young kids nowadays are not going to be able to have that memory that I have, because eventually the spring game is going to be gone. It's leaving, ladies and gentlemen. Texas, Ohio State, Nebraska, USC, and Missouri have all canceled their spring game. Am I surprised? No, I'm not. I'm not. With the changing landscape of college football, with more games being played, with more people, for a lack of words, being paranoid about guys that are actually scouting spring games, people don't want to be people don't want to play it anymore. And who is the disservice to? The disservice is to the fan base, because this is where the fan base gets to come in, and this is where the fan base gets to see their team before the next season starts. And it gives us that much needed, energy boost in between the time when it's just a dead period of college football. Around that April, May time, when there's a spring game on, you get to see some football. You get to see your favorite college team play. You be like, yes, this should be able to hold me over until August. But I'm here to just give you a foreshadowing of what potentially is going to happen. Spring game is going away, ladies and gentlemen. But it's not all bad. And I'm going to give you a solution to it today, right here in this video. So, why is the spring game so important? Well, if you know the schedule of college athletics runs like this. August is the beginning of the season. Normally, the season runs until February, okay? And once that season, not February, but January. That season runs until January, where the national championship game is, and then we just have a lull there. And then normally you start seeing the videos from the football Instagram account or Twitter account of guys working out, guys getting ready for the next year, guys getting ready for that spring game that we all want to see them in. We want to see who's the next guy going to be. Then we have the spring game. Then we have that little bit of a lull there. Then we have media days. And then guess what? Football's right back around the corner. That's what it is. Football's almost here. So guess what? I have a solution for it. And I'm going to give it to you right now. The solution for this is move the spring game to the summer. Simple as that. But is it so simple? As it sits now with college football, there's something called countable athletic relatable activities. It's called CARA. And I'm going to read to you. If you do a quick Google search, this is what it means. CARA are they are activities that govern how college athletes can basically practice and play during the season, during the off season, and during out of season. You heard it right. During the season, the off season, and out of season, which typically goes back because it's in NCAA bylaws rule 17 is what it's in. So you ask, what is the difference between off season and out of season? Well, according to the NCAA, the off season is a broader term encompassing the time between the end of the competitive season and the start of the next season, where athletes may still engage in some organized training activities under coach supervision. Normally in the offseason, this is where you see the weight training videos, you see the conditioning drill videos, you see the individual skill development that players do, and that's with limited coach supervision. That's in the offseason. Then normally right after that, that's when we get the spring game, which is more time when you hear about the 15 practices that most teams get. That's the spring practice period. That's where you can have an organized team practices or activities within that time period for spring practice. Then after that, it's the out of season part. Out of season, based on a quick Google search underneath that, it is a stricter term by the NCAA rules, meaning a period where athletes are only allowed a minimum amount of individual workouts, usually with limited coaching involvement, and cannot participate in full team practices or competitions. And that includes the summer. So basically, how it works during the season, the car events, the countable athletic related activities that student athletes can participate in during the week is 20 hours or 4 hours per day. And they have to get at least 1 day of rest during the week. In the off season, they can only participate in 8 hours per week. Now, with the college football playoff expanding, with you seeing what happened this past year, and teams playing almost 16, 17 games, you are going to see that spring practice period window be eliminated by a lot of schools. A lot of schools are just going to say, look, we're not going to do this spring game because of the fact that we just got finished playing in January, and now the end of March, April, May, we're practicing again. And we got to get our guys time to get their bodies recovered to play another season coming up in August, September. So my remedy to this is to just move everything until after school is out, starting in May. It makes all the perfect sense in the world. I mean, but will it happen though? Who knows? Who knows if it will happen? But if you want the best, if we're going to have these guys playing 16, 17 type games, 17 game seasons, if we're going to have these guys putting a lot of stress on their bodies, taking hits, if we're going to be having that during the season, we got to give them time to recover. Even the NFL does it. When the NFL is finished in February, they don't have OTAs until the end of May, beginning of June is when OTAs start. And if we are looking at this NFL light structure that we see with college football and the college football playoff, why not have an NFL light structure when it comes to the offseason? It'll help with the transfer portal. If you were to move the transfer portal to after school, it will help with that as soon as school ended, because normally if normally the last week of school, the last week of April is the last week of school, then you have finals, and then normally by the second week of May, graduation happens and everybody's out. If you move the transfer portal to right after that last week of full classes, let guys enter the transfer portal, then they'll be able to make their decisions of where they want to go. You start OTAs or you start summer training in June. It works out perfectly. Because from June, you get your 15 practices. It goes into July. You get a couple of days, you get a couple of weeks off, and you go right into fall camp for the first week of September, end of August to start the season. And then within that period of where the national championship or the games end in January, now you have February, March, April, and May. You have 4 months to recover instead of having 6 to 8 weeks to recover. I mean, it's something to think about. But guess what? I'm not in charge of college football.